There we go. Hello. Mic check, mic check. What's up, y'all? Happy Thursday, almost Friday. And welcome back to A Seat at the Table. Our first one, no, our second one since the year started. So good to see everybody back. Let me get over here so I can see comments. And in my group and on my page. Now, actually, I just look at them in my group because that's where it is at the group. So how's everybody doing? We have lots of good current events going on to talk about. And, people have been messaging me kind of offline, asking things about some of the news stories that are going on and some of the legal aspects of them. So I thought, let's hop on and let's talk about them. And let's get into some of my, these are all my opinions, not necessarily automatically have to be your opinions, but, I try to base them in some facts, some law. So I had a list of kind of things that I was listing, and you all listed some other things. And I want to start first, though, with bringing you guys up to speed on something. One of the first classes I taught when we started A Seat at the Table almost a year ago was how to copyright things. I taught you how to file your own copyrights for those of you who are creatives, who write books, who write songs, who write poetry, who take photographs. And as you all know, in October, I wrote a book, or released a book that I wrote basically in October. And of course, I filed my copyright. And I have now received it back from the Library of Congress. Darn light so bright you can't see it. But I wanted to show you that I practice what I preach. And this is my official, I'm gonna turn the light off for a second so you can actually see it. My official certificate of registration for Do What You Know How to Do, my book. I don't ever tell you all to do anything that I wouldn't do myself, including this. So yeah, I'm happy to have my book copyright in hand. I'm happy for those of you who've had me to do your book copyrights. I'm happy for those of you who've done your own copyrights. I just want us to protect ourselves. This is going in my safe with my important paperwork. I also need to put my passport back up. I see it sitting here. Because as many of you know, I was in Costa Rica last week celebrating my birthday. So those will both go into my important paperwork safe. And, when I'm dead and gone and the copyright is still extending and my book somehow blows up, my kids will have that and they'll be able to collect millions and millions of dollars based on that. Thank you for the birthday wishes, Colleen, and happy belated birthday to you as well. You just celebrated your 50th. So, I just wanted to start with that, showing you guys I practice what I preach. I'm not telling you something I wouldn't do. The things I tell you do work. The book came out in October. I filed the copyright in November, and they're moving along at a nice clip. So I've had it a couple weeks. I just waited to share it with you guys. They're moving along at a nice clip. The trademark office is just now reaching applications that were filed in April of 2022 as far as starting on them. I'm getting back copyrights that were filed in July or August of 2022. And the ones that they're just starting to look at were filed April of 2023. So they're still running 18 months, but the Copyright Office is caught up to itself and they can get you in and out in 90 days roughly. So, go back and watch those videos if you haven't seen them. I teach you literally how to file your own copyright. And if you just don't want to do it, I do them, but I really think it's something you truly can do yourself. And so, I show you how. I don't see any reason that if you watch what I've shown on that class, it's going to be one of the first ones that you wouldn't be able to handle it yourself. So that's the first thing that I wanted to share with you guys. I didn't want to post it or anything until I told the table, because you guys have been with me since we first began to talk about copyright. So I wanted you to see it first. And because I knew you would understand what I was saying because you've been here. One of the big stories in the news, I would say here in Atlanta, but it's really all over, is District Attorney in Fulton County, Fannie Willis, and the allegations that she is in a personal relationship with the lead prosecutor, who she appointed to the case, a lawyer by the name of Nathan Wade. Here are my disclaimers. I do not know Fannie personally. She is a sorority sister of mine. We are both members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I do know Nathan personally. Haven't seen him in a really long time, but we went to law school together 30 years ago, I guess. So I don't have an opinion on, this is not going to be the place to find out if they're together. I don't know. This is what I'm going to discuss about that. I'm not here to dog her out. I'm not interested in kicking a sister while she's down. But I will say I'm very disappointed that this is even a necessary conversation or a possible scenario. We know that we have to be 5 times better to be equal, and that we can't have one misstep or give one reason for someone to our efforts. We know that we can't get away with some things other people can get away with. We just know that as women, as Black women, and she should know that. And so I'm disappointed that the opportunity to even have the conversation exists. That said, what I'm going to discuss about it is any impact it may have on the actual case against the 18 defendants in the RICO charges leveled against them for the interference in the Georgia election. And I'm going to have this conversation without a political slant. I'm just going to talk about the law, right? So whether or not Fannie and Nate have been bumping and grinding has no impact, or will have no impact on the trial or the case or the charges levied against 18 people for interference allegedly with the election in the state of Georgia. Those are ethical questions, and the State Bar of Georgia governs that. These people, they decide, their members, if we violate ethics, if we have some misstep that is damaging to a person or the public. This literally says, and I just happened to have it here, member Dorna Taylor is a member of this organization, which is dedicated to the maintenance of the highest professional standards in the practice of law for the benefit of the membership and the public. That's who governs our behavior, our ethics, our license. If a crime is committed, if people interfered in our election because the DA may have been in a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, doesn't make that not so, and the public is still entitled to justice. So whether she gets removed because she's today said she's not stepping down, whether he gets, Nathan, but I know him as Nate, whether Nathan gets removed and replaced by another lawyer, then that's what they'll do. They'll replace him with another lawyer and the case will go forward. Whether somehow one of these defendants files some motion and gets the whole thing transferred to another county, so be it. But it will go forward on the merits. Those cases will go forward on their merits. It's just really a distraction. But again, I'm not sitting here saying the defendants are causing a distraction. That's their job. Their attorney's job is to do anything they can to try to impact the trial and give their client an advantage. But it's also the DA's responsibility to not give them any rope to hang herself with. So, it's disappointing. It's disappointing that this is a conversation that apparently nothing has been admitted, but nothing has been shut down, and the damage is done. Reputation, you just got to keep I's dotted and your T's crossed and your hands clean and your nose clean and everything clean when you're doing high profile work. I've been doing high profile work for a really long time, and I know that you can't give, you don't get the excuses and the do-overs and the benefit of the doubt that people get when you're in certain positions looking a certain way. You have to have your credit. It will damage her credibility. She's got also, the big RICO trial with the young thugs and those people with all those acronyms. I'm going to talk about that too. Something my son brought to my attention. So she's got these 2 big RICO cases going. There's millions, hundreds of other matters going through the Fulton County DA's office. All of those go forward every single day, whether or not she was on a wine tour with the chief prosecutor. So, we can give this as much interest as we want to, but it really is just irrelevant to the merits of the cases. And that's really what I wanted to say about that in a public setting. Now, my son brought to my attention, hey, Tonette. My son brought to my attention that young thug, has been throughout the trial trying to say that thug represents something other than thug. I need to pull this thing up because it was really stupid. But they have all these things they're trying to get the jury to believe that these slab and thug and all these gang terminologies, that they really mean something other than what they mean. And it's laughable because we all know what a thug is, but they're trying to pull it off. And maybe there's somebody on the jury that doesn't know these lyrics other than what they're hearing in court, and so they're able to pull this crap off. But do y'all remember it was like thug stands for true? Oh my goodness, I gotta find the thing my son sent because it's so silly that I just want y'all to see it. And so they're trying to get the jury to believe that they aren't, drug dealers and they're not gang members, that they're like worshiping God with these phrases and things that they've been saying. And I'm sorry, my son texts me so much I can't even find the darn thing. It's so many texts. I'll keep looking for it and I'll move on to something. Oh, I found it. Here it is. So they have filed a bunch of trademarks, is the reason I'm bringing this up. They filed a bunch of trademarks for these phrases that they're attempting to convince the jury that aren't gang affiliated terminologies. So thug, they want to say means truly humble under God. So that's what a thug is, a truly humble under God, right? And they have this merch, truly humble under God thug merch, because we know from the table that you have to have a product or something available to the consumer in order to file and succeed on a trademark claim. So they've got their products. They filed Truck Thug is truly humble under God. They've got a whole list of them here. All of their little sayings are on the other side. So swag, someone who admires God. YSL, young soldiers of the Lord. This is stupid as hell. Young soldiers of the Lord. Did you know that's what it stood for? YSL. Slat, show love all the time. Up. Overly positive pal. That's what an op is, an overly positive pal. Yeah, buddy old pal. Slime. Sing Lord and me every day. Yeah, they filed this stuff with the trademark office and they've been trying to feed this to the jury. Hey, Stacy. Stacy, did you know YSL stands for Young Soldiers of the Lord? And ops is an overly positive pal? Because that's what Young Thug and his people want us to believe. But this is the best one, y'all. I'll save this one for last. Glock. Guarding lives, overcoming challenges. I don't even know what the K is supposed to be for. Glock. Guarding lives, overcoming challenges. Yeah, that's what Glocks do. They guard lives. And they have this nonsense and, pink and, oh, they want you to worship Yahweh too. They have pink and they have green, two of my favorite colors. We got red and of course, black and white. This is the biggest nonsense I've ever seen in my life. Well, who is she? I hate how TikTok just be going to other stuff. Now I lost it. But they want the jury to believe, they want us to believe that these phrases stand for these things, and they filed trademarks to back up this nonsense. No blue, because they're not gang members. They're someone who admires God. Swag. No blue. I guess they got red, so maybe they should have blue. So the Young Soldiers of the Lord trial that Fannie's working on, they filed these trademarks. I don't know who filed this mess. I'll look it up. This is, like I said, this is news from the 16-year-old. My son came in the house the other day because he knows that I do trademarks. He's like, Mom, you didn't file the trademarks for the YSL crew, did you? And I was like, no. Why? And he's like, I knew you didn't because they were stupid. And he shows them to me. And we had a good laugh about it. They filed these as part of their, proof that these are, this is what these phrases stand for. So, next time you call somebody ops, I call somebody ops today. They're overly positive pal. Slack, show love all the time. Slime, seeing Lord in me every, that don't even make sense. Seeing Lord in me, they didn't even get it right. The acronyms ain't even right. But anyway, I thought that this would be, I thought you all would find this to be just as stupid as I did. And so I couldn't wait to come share with you how trademarks can be used, even in, these settings. This will be evidence, I'm sure at some point they'll show these applications and say, see, we are selling this to the public, not drugs, not mayhem, not, when we say these things in our lyrics, this is what we're talking about, not, gangs and drugs. And it's ridiculous, but everybody has an opportunity to make their case. This is what they want to do to make their case. More power to them. Okay, so we also wanted to talk about, I'm just hopping back to the group to see some of the topics that I mentioned that you guys were interested in. Fannie Wilkes, Gail and the cheating airport husband, I'm gonna come back to at the end. Nicki Minaj and Megan's Law. Okay, so Megan's Law is a short name for the law that requires people who've been convicted of child sexual assault. I don't even know if you can say that on Facebook, but child SA and or certain crimes related to children, to have to report their residence and to have to stay away from certain businesses, a certain distance from certain businesses, and just generally regulate people who have been convicted of crimes against children. And it's named after a young lady who was victimized by a friend of her family, actually. And Congress lobbies, how they lobby these bills, and sometimes they name them after people just to give them kind of a little hook. I'm not sure if Amber is associated with Amber Alerts, but it probably is. And so Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion have been having some sort of issue somewhere between Bongos coming out and now. I don't know when things took a turn, but I know just enough to be dangerous. I'm like current on the current events, but I don't have like the details. So somewhere between Bongos and now, they've fallen out. Nicki Minaj is, allegedly not a cocaine user, but she sure acts like one. And the lyric in one of Megan's song, a diss song that came out last Friday, I want to say, called Hiss, she said something like, don't worry about Megan, worry about Megan's Law. that was a problem because for Nikki, because her husband is a convicted SA, and dates back to when he was a teenager himself, but he is subject to Megan's law and having to report where he lives and not being able to go within 100 feet of a school and all this stuff. So she took major offense. Not him, but she took offense, right? And has been carrying on. And then she did a song back called Bigfoot that went all into, talking about Megan's dead mother and her being shot in the foot and calling her Bigfoot. And just, it was really a terrible, just the track was just whack. It was like she freestyled it. But anyway, Megan's father had the nerve to be upset about Megan Thee Stallion using his daughter's name in the song, which is Megan's name, sir. That's the first problem you have. He had a problem with the context of the song and the other things that were said in the song and her name, his daughter's name being associated with that. So he's apparently supposedly looking into his legal options. A couple of friends of mine on Facebook were discussing this, whether or not one was saying he sued, the other one was saying, no, he didn't. I think they're both right. He probably did sue, and no, he's not getting anywhere with that. He does not own the trademark to the word Megan. All around, right? The artist who is rapping is named Megan. Certainly gives her equal right to the use of that creatively, however she so chooses. And you just can't really sue. He doesn't have standing. He doesn't own the name or the law, or it's a government function. It's a law. It's a federal law. He doesn't have ownership in it to be able to bring a claim, and nor was his daughter's memory disparaged. Nor does he have standing to bring claims on behalf of a dead person. Like, there's just a million things wrong with any lawsuit he may try to file. But as I pointed out to my friends who were debating who was right and who was wrong, just because somebody's not going to win doesn't mean they don't sue. People sue all the time for no reason or with terrible cases and get dismissed almost as soon as they're filed. But you can file anything. Can you win? No, he would never win that. He's not going to get any money out of her. His family wasn't harmed by her statement. If anything, Nikki, used it more disparagingly than Megan did. But that shit was coming up. People were talking about it, so I thought I would, mention it as well. Just because somebody sues, sometimes we used to say the lawsuit's not worth the paper it's written on, and sometimes you sue and win, and the judgment's not worth the paper that it's written on because the person doesn't have any money. So yes, he probably may be trying to find a lawyer that will sue. No, he will not find one that has any sense that will file that, but maybe he can find a lawyer that filed trademarks for Young Thug on these stupid phrases and young soldiers of the Lord, and maybe that person will file the lawsuit because clearly they don't have any sense. So, or some people just do stuff because somebody's paying them to do it, and so that's that. Megan is not at risk of being sued and lose everything she has over the statement, including the word Megan's law in that statement. All right, so then you all had some questions that you wanted to bring up. Somebody asked me about marital issues. I don't approach those in here because marital issues or divorce or custody and all that is state by state. People from all over the country in here. Some people aren't even in this country that are in the group and watch these videos. So I don't want to give any advice that's accurate in one state and inaccurate in another state. Trade lines. So people were talking about trade. Two people brought up trade lines, and wanted to understand that someone saw a post promoting a business that sells trade lines. Another person sent me a copy of a business called Magnum Credit, where it looks like they want you to pay. If you pay a $25 monthly payment, you'll build up $2,000 credit. But if you pay by the XL plan and you pay $350 a month, you're going to get $30,000 in credit. And what they're doing is selling trade lines. What trade lines are in normal vernacular are credit accounts, lines of credit, credit cards. When people sell trade lines, let's say I'm 51, because I am, and I've had credit established since I was 18. When I was at the University of Georgia, they used to give you a free T-shirt if you signed up for a MasterCard, and we all did it. And that's when we all got our first credit card. It was $5,000. We had no jobs to speak of. It was the biggest mess. But that's when I got my first credit card. I was 18. So my credit history is long. And that adds to my credit profile, the fact that I've had a lengthy credit history from 18 to 51. So someone who may be 27 trying to establish credit may have a brand new credit history or may want to purchase access to the credit history and the good payment history over all those years. And there are people that purport to sell, so that's a trade line. Let's say I kept that MasterCard all the time. I didn't. I closed it after college, really. But let's say I kept that MasterCard from 18 to 51. I could sell. Let me stop here. What I'm about to describe is illegal. It's not legal. It's illegal. Okay. That said, what they do is they sell the credit line. So they put that person, let's say Susie Q is 24 and she's trying to establish credit without actually establishing credit. Then this credit magnum people would pay me money, have her pay money a month to them, and they would kick me back some of it to add her as an authorized user on my account and give her the benefit of my credit history. She would also apparently have the right to, run out and use it. If she got a card, she could go use my credit too. But I don't know if they ever clarify that for the people in their criminal enterprise or not. But this is illegal. There are businesses that do it. There are businesses that sell it. You'll see it online. People are saying you can pay these monthly amounts and get access to lines of credit that you don't personally qualify for. It's illegal because it's fraud, because the bank is not lending money to Susie Q with bad credit or no credit. They're lending it to me. And so misrepresenting who is the rightful owner of that trade line is a fraud, because I'm the one that's actually paid that from 18 to 51, not her, but she is going to present herself to other creditors as though this is her credit history in order to con them into giving her a credit profile that she may not be deserving of, because that's not really her credit history, which is where the fraud comes in. So that's why that's illegal in a very basic, simple form of explanation. There's no way to make it legal. There are people who will beat themselves up into a pulp and tie themselves up into a pretzel to try to justify, excuse, explain it in a way that makes it legal. There's no bank in the world that's going to agree with their position. Now, do people do it and get away with it? Yep. Should you? No. The only way to build a credit profile is to build the credit profile. Even these people that are claiming they're fixing credit and cleaning up credit history is the history of your credit behaviors. So if you had a eviction, you're not going to just get that off your credit in a lawful manner. You had an eviction. It's part of your credit history. Now, are there people that you can pay money to and they'll do some hocus pocus and it'll fall off for a bit and then one day it pops back up because it's still true? Yeah, but they don't tell you that it's going to pop back up because it's still true. They want you to think they're fixing your credit instead of helping you to remediate your credit. You can fix your credit by making payment. They can give you a plan to make payments in a certain way over a certain period of time, open certain things, leave certain things. There's ways that you can improve your credit, which is why in the state of Georgia, Georgia has made it illegal for anyone that's not a lawyer, a realtor, an accountant, or a nonprofit focused on credit rehabilitation to charge someone for fixing their credit, because by and large, what almost anyone else that's doing that was doing was giving financial advice they weren't certified to give, but not permitted by the state to give that advice. So lawyers, accountants, realtors, because these are people that are generally brokers, helping you to qualify for mortgages. That's why people generally take a look at their credit. They're trying to get a new mortgage. So the state allows people that are in that field to give assistance to people for a fee, because when you get that mortgage, the closing attorney is going to get a fee, the realtor is going to get a fee, the broker is going to get a fee. They can get money based on having helped you fix your profile. But the people that are just saying, hey, pay me X amount of dollars and I'm going to fix your credit, and you're just paying me to fix your credit and send out letters that you could send yourself. And if there's wrong information on your credit report, then those people are violating the law in the state of Georgia. That's not the law in every state. And then there are people that teach you how to do it for yourself for free, like Derek, having learned a valuable lesson about not being able to charge for that. So he teaches it DIY and gives that information away. Colleen does DIY as well. So it's something that you can do for yourself. And trade lines are never, ever, ever going to be legal. What ends up happening, and you're not going to jail per se, they aren't really arresting people for this, but I think what would end up happening if you were to buy a trade line from Magnum over here, and then you go to Amex and somehow get them to believe that you've got this 30 years, and they issue you a line of credit, and then it later comes out that that wasn't yours, it drops off, the person gets mad and cancels your authorized user or whatever, then they're going to close your line of credit and sue you for the money they lent you. And American Express will sue you, and they will not let go till they get their money. So, it's not worth it as a consumer. Is anybody going after the middleman? No, because they never really know who they are. They're always in the shadows. And then the person whose trade line was sold sometimes doesn't even know. You also see this happen. My son is the third. My son is the fourth, William Taylor the fourth. My husband was the third. His father was junior, and his grandfather was senior, right? So when we were buying this house, I think we were like 31, 32. No, we haven't been here this long. We were like 37, 36, 37. And he had something on his credit profile that was almost as old as he was. It looked like he would have been 2 when he had this line of credit. And it actually was his father's. It had gotten crossed over because of their names. Similar situation. A lot of you have that where you've got somebody's stuff is showing up on your credit because the name is similar, or there have been some mistakes, and sometimes those things are damaging to your credit. Sometimes they help your credit. It looked like he had a really long credit history, but it flagged in underwriting because it didn't make any sense based on his birth date. So that's how we became aware of it. So this is what trade lines do. They try to, sell you access to people who have better credit than you do, direct access to their credit profiles. And I understand the temptation. Look, I have a business that is now, 20 years old. I have 2 decades of tax returns and books that show great revenues year after year after year after year. There are people that would love to buy my business profile, right? To be able to get a newly established business, the credibility from a lending standpoint. But, so there are people that sell that, and there are people that can be approached to do that. That's why this exists, but it's never legal. If you have any questions or concerns, just plop it in the group, and we'll all tell you if that's a trade line, because a lot of us in here are credit specialists or have worked in the credit field, or are realtors like Colleen, or tax preparers like Angela, just people that know what's right and what's wrong in the credit space and how you can properly improve your profile if there are errors on your credit report. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying anybody's going to fix your credit in that they're going to mysteriously make the truth disappear. If there are errors in your credit profile, those can be corrected, and that may positively affect your credit. But the truth is the truth. If you've got evictions, if you've got foreclosures, if you've got bankruptcies, you've got them, and they're on your profile because that's what happened. And they don't stay there forever. They will go away so that you can move on with your life. But anyone that's telling you they can fix that off of your credit is just charging you money, and you won't be able to find them when that pops back up on your credit. Because all they have to do is just renew it. If somehow they get it moved off because of some little loophole and people didn't answer in time and it falls off, it's just going to come back on in 30 days when they catch up. Yeah, Colleen says, please be careful. A loan just got denied for a home buyer due to a trade line. Yeah, it's not going to benefit you. It's less important really than that it's illegal, because like I said, they can't find the people behind these companies, but you would have paid somebody money and you would be on the, you just end up losing out. Like I said, the credit profile is going to rebound if they fixed your credit as opposed to corrected errors on your credit. That's going to rebound, and that stuff is coming right back, and you paid them for nothing. You could have been paying the collection or whatever to, get it. Maybe you can call them up and say, hey, can we negotiate if you remove this, if I pay it? That's a better use of your money. Now, I don't give credit advice, even though I'm permitted to under the state law. I'm just not interested in it. So, that's about everything I know about credit because it's just not something that interests me. But there are so many people who at the table that know this area and will give you this information. Derek Harper, like I said, has a free DIY thing. You can do it yourself. Colleen said they had it frozen, thinking we wouldn't see, or the underwriter, and it backfired. Yeah, it's just it's not worth it. And like I said, when we were buying this house, it was flagged, and it didn't become an issue because it wasn't a fraud. It was actually an error. So we were able to get it removed by showing the social security numbers didn't line up, that it was his father's information. But ironically, I think it's back on. I think it came back on there later at some point, but yeah, we weren't getting anything on credit, so we just didn't worry about it. So trade line's bad. Trade line's bad. Don't ever let somebody sell you really anything associated with fixing your credit if you're in the state of Georgia, unless it's your realtor and they're going to get something as opposed, out of the sale, they're, 3 or 6%, or your broker, or for some reason your lawyer is doing it. I don't do it. But there are lawyers, Tracy, Attorney Tracy, who was in here with us, she knows credit. Not saying that she's out here trying to help people fix, repair their credit. I don't think that's what she does, but she's a genius in the area. I know she's doing litigation now, so I don't want to back her into a corner. But anyway, there are people who know this area that can answer quick questions if you guys have them. I'd rather you ask them in the group than not and make a mistake and get your loan denied. Colleen is saying she's fixing her credit. She's a work in progress. Happy to share any DIY stuff if someone needs to work on theirs. If that is allowed, that is absolutely allowed. Colleen, I welcome that, where we help each other with things we know, things we don't know, and we just work together on that. And I don't want to see anybody spend money on something that's a fraud or a waste of their money. Like I said, when they could be using that money to actually pay off some old debt or do something that may be helpful to their credit report. All right, and so now we have Gail Lewis and Harold Lewis and the airport TikTok. I don't know if y'all saw this. I've avoided and addicted to TikTok all this time, and this thing here has sucked me in. I've been refreshing TikTok trying to see what the newest information is on Gail and what's the girlfriend's name, y'all? I forgot. But this the story kind of just took a turn. And it turns out that he was married when Gail met him, and it's kind of like karma is coming back around. Then it was said that her attorneys withdrew, and that's maybe why she was, doing this expose, because she's trying to get exposure to get new attorneys or to bring her attorneys back. Then somebody looked up the stuff and found her pleadings, and she went back live because they were talking about the stuff in the pleadings, and she mentioned her attorney's names, and I know them. One of them I pledged in college. So I was like, golly, once again, Atlanta is small. I know Fannie, and so what I will say, knowing who her attorneys are, she's in good hands. She's gonna be all right. They are excellent. I'm not just saying this because that's my girl, Rachel, but she is good. When people come and say, do you have a referral for divorce or a child custody? This is the person I send people to. And nobody has ever had a bad experience. She's good. She's good. She's good. She was at my birthday party if you were there. And so anyway, I'm not worried about Gail, knowing that she's got the attorney that she has on the case. I don't believe she's withdrawn because I saw a picture on my friend's Instagram of her and Gail at the Hawks game the other day. So they seemed, not like they were not working together. But the reason I'm bringing this up is to talk about the legal aspects of it, right? So Gail had filed the pleading saying that she, does not work. She's a homemaker, which is work, but she doesn't work outside the home. And her husband, Harold, makes $86,000 a month. $86,000 a month, right? That's like $1 million, a little over $1 million a year. And that he had 5 girlfriends, and she needs to have the court order him to respond to the discovery, to show her the bank statements and the Cash App and everything. She has not involved herself in any of that at any time. Does Harold have a brother? Yeah, but if the brother is anything like Harold, not $86, $86,000 a month, or maybe it was 83. Who's counting, right? So homeboy is bringing in enough though to maintain his wife and 5 ladies at least, according to her. So, perhaps she's overlooked the other 4 ladies because of $86,000 a month. I personally am aware I has to buy Louis Vuitton and Gucci and stuff like that. And she stays draped. Chanel. She had on her Chanel hoodie while she was. Colleen said she thinks she was married to his brother, thankfully divorced. Well, you know what? This was my first thought when I heard her story. I was like, Colleen, everybody, never mind. It's not that unusual, Gail. This is not earth-shattering news. Oh, your husband was cheating. What? That never happens. A rich husband is cheating on you, and you don't know anything about what's going on with the finances in the house? That would never have imagined. But she was personally devastated because she just had no idea. And, that I can empathize with. So I don't want to make light of the whole thing, but I was like, lady, why are you okay? And come to find out, she was cheating with the man when he was married to his first wife. So she already knew this man was a cheater. And when she filmed him on the video in the airport, she had filed for divorce a year and a half beforehand. So it wasn't what it looked like to us, where she was discovering her husband was sneaking away with this woman. And oh my God, I have no idea. And I just caught my husband in the Sky Lounge cheating. This is the first time I've seen them together since he moved out to live with this lady. And, it's jarring. And I'm going to, for some reason, create a TikTok and put that on there. And that's the only thing on my TikTok, because I'm not a TikToker because I'm grown. This is the only thing I'm going to have on my TikTok is the backstory on this, my husband, who actually I'm separated from. He lives with this lady and they are in the airport. So as the story kind of unraveled, people started drawing lines on TikTok. Team Auntie Gail. Nobody really was Team Sabrina because it's not really much to cheer for on that tip. But and obviously nobody was Team Harold, but people became, Team Auntie Gail or not. And I guess the reason I wanted to bring it up was just to kind of demonstrate that a lot of times when there's legal matters involved in events, what we're seeing and hearing and what's being said and what's really going on in court are 2 totally different things. And so what we saw on TikTok was, oh my gosh, she just caught her husband in the Sky Lounge trying to sneak off to Europe with this chick. And when the pleadings started coming out and the divorce, which is a lawsuit, showing she filed it in October when she first found out the story she was telling was that he was coming back from Europe and there was this lady on the thing, and the people at American Express broke the law by telling her it was him and his companion flying back. But that customer service agent was doing the Lord's work. He was trying to let the lady know, look, sis, this time they've been flying back and forth, and I'm just going to tell you today. That was all. She filed for divorce back then when all that happened in October of 2022. And they've been living separate lives and going through their litigation all this time. And so when she was confronting them in the airport, this was her first time seeing it with her own eyes, and she had a reaction to it. So, $86,000 a month income, a home in Sugarloaf. I think it's Sugarloaf Country Club, worth about $1 million. A loan he had taken out a mortgage against the home that she didn't know where the proceeds went. He had borrowed money from friends and used her watch collection as collateral. And so now she doesn't have her watches because I guess they made him actually give them the watches for collateral. The moral of the story, ladies, gentlemen, if you're not the breadwinner, or if you're not paying attention or helping your significant other work through the day-to-day, know what's going on. be aware of the finances in your household. If I had no idea how everything got done around this house when my husband passed, I probably could have lost stuff by the time I figured out what the mortgage was or who to pay it to or where the life insurance policy was. Like I, you know, we both always were involved, no matter who was making what. And I just really recommend that. Sheila says, what is his job? Making $86,000 a month. He is the um, mortgage. He's in mortgage lending. He's president of a bank on the mortgage lending side. It's about $1 million annually. 86,000 a month sounds like a lot. It is a lot. Don't think I have it like that. But that's pre-tax. And if you have 5 girlfriends, so that's 10,000. Let's say you spend 10,000 each because you got to fly one to Europe, you got to pay one off to be quiet. You got, your wife is wearing the really dope orange Louis Vuitton sweater that I've been trying to find because I want it. This stuff adds up for old Harold. So when Harold said that he was not going to let anybody mess up his money, I think that he meant he did not want to have his trophy wife. He needs her and he can do the banking and everybody can see how wonderful he is as a family man, and part of that plays into that. There's a lot of fundraising, a lot of client schmoozing, a lot of dinners and events and charitable events and all the things you go to gin up clients. So yeah, I wish her the best. I don't wish this on her or anyone else. I don't want to make light of her pain because she truly seemed like she had no idea. Her blood pressure spiked or whatever, but the more the TikTokers found the divorce paperwork and got the story, the more everything else started to make sense. And that is kind of the point that I brought it up to bring up, is that, what I try to do here is teach you all a different way to look at the law and a different way to interpret things that we see, with the understanding of probably what the legal ramifications are going on beneath it. And this was a perfect example. $86,000 a month. Yeah, she was not paying attention to not one bill. She did not care. She didn't open the bill. She didn't. She just knows they get paid. Did it say he hired a hitman on her? I didn't see that. I mean, she didn't say. I didn't see that. I saw what she said he made, that he took out mortgages and loans with friends, and that he had allegedly 5 girlfriends over the course of their 28-year marriage. So I guess, by law of averages, he's pretty average. Colleen says, me neither. It hurts and it is hard to get through. Very much so. And, I think for about $43,000 a month, because she's been with him long enough to qualify for half of his pension, his 401k. If he was in the military, she's getting his military retirement. She's going to be okay financially. She's going to be able to wrap herself up in all that money and just be warm at night. And like I said, she's got an amazing, I'm not at all concerned about, I just hope she will listen to her attorney. It looks like she is, because all this talking on TikTok is not helping their case. It's not helping her at all. She had an ironclad case, and now you got people out here investigating, that she was the side chick before they got married. So, she kind of harmed her reputation by doing this way without coming out with it. She could have come out and said, I know how he moves because I know how he moved on me. And I thought that he had changed and I've been committed to my marriage. So if she had started there, that would be different, but she didn't. So she did a little damage to her reputation. I'm sure that he will use that in court. I don't know who he has, but he probably, for $86,000 a month, he can afford a good attorney. So that is the current status of the current events out there in the world. We covered Fani Willis and Nate Wade, and we covered the Trump case, not the Trump case, but the Georgia state election interference case, and how those two essentially have no impact on the other. What will happen to Fani will happen to Fani. What will happen to those defendants will happen to those defendants. And nothing that she may be doing in her personal or professional life that's unethical will have any impact on the facts of those cases. We talked about the other case, the big case she has, the RICO case with the YSL crew. Y'all, I forgot what it stood for again. It was all just a bunch of BS that was supposed to be religious terminology that these thug, truly humble under God is supposed to stand for. So if you missed that, go back and get a good laugh because it's complete nonsense. And we talked about Megan's Law, Megan Thee Stallion, whether or not the father of the original Megan that the law is named after has any claims against her for mentioning the name of that law in his case, in her song. We talked about trade lines and how no matter what anybody tells you, those are not legal. And I think I've addressed every question that was in here too. Seen any questions come up as you guys have been in here. So I think somebody asked, when do you know if you need to file a W-9? And I'm assuming you meant a W-9 and not a W-2, because that's kind of what's happening right now. Those were due yesterday. But a W-9 is if you're going to be hiring somebody that's not an employee, they're going to be an independent contractor or in some way working and earning money from you, and they will not be employed by you where you're going to withhold taxes, then you have them fill that out so that they have given you their name and address and social security number or tax ID number. So when it's time for you to do your W-2, your 1099 to them by January 30th, you have the information with which to do that. So the two go hand in hand. You generally need a W-9 on somebody to be able to prepare a 1099, or you wouldn't have a W-2 on a W-9. So, that's how those are used. Colleen is pointing out that Angela Brooks is amazing with taxes. Indeed, she is. It's officially tax season. So if you need someone, I highly recommend her personally as well. I personally recommend her myself. I'll put it that way. She works some magic on some of my previous year's returns that she went back and just looked at out of the kindness of her heart, I guess, and made some amendments that were to my benefit. So I recommend her. And then we finished up talking about the TikTok current event with the cheating husband at the airport and the Sky Lounge. So, just a little bit of fun tonight, not too heavy. I'm coming off vacation mode, catching up with my work, keeping everybody happy on the client side. And next Saturday, if you're in the Swainsboro, Georgia area or in Swainsboro, Georgia, I will be having my first book signing, my in-person book signing, first of many that I plan to do. I'm doing it back at home in Swainsboro at the William Franklin Memorial Library. And it will be beginning at 4:00 until 5:30. At 4:30, I'll do a live reading from a chapter in the book, and I'll sign your books before and after the reading. So if you have the book, bring it on over. I'll sign it for you. We'll take pictures, whatever you want to do. Well, not whatever you want to do, but within reason. I have a few people that I have to be specific with. So I'm not going to do anything you want to do, but I'll sign your book, and we'll have some, tea and crumpets. My parents are providing refreshments, and just, have my first book signing back at home. Will I be going live? Sure. I'll be happy to go live. I'll go live here at the table, and then I'll be announcing others. If you would like me to come to your someplace and host a book signing, I'm happy to within reason. If you're in a tropical location, that's even better. I'll be happy to come do one in Belize or somewhere. So, just want to, when we put this book out, there was so much healing that happened with our virtual readings and signings. I really look forward to getting together in person and having us, share and hug and be able to comfort each other and help each other through the things that are the themes of the book. So I'm looking forward to getting on the road with this and being able to come to some of your cities, obviously do them here in Atlanta, so that we can share, help each other work through the grief and the stuckness that grief can sometimes, um, you know, log you into. So tropical Charlotte or Fayetteville, North Carolina, minus the tropical. I love Charlotte though, so that's cool. And I have a great friend in Charlotte, so I'll be happy to come there. I have a couple of good friends in that area actually, so I'll be happy to come there. All y'all need to do is tell me where to go, set up someplace. That's what Swainsboro did. They were like, hey, we got this place. When can you be here? So I found a date I could be there, and I'm coming. So, we'll get our schedules together. I'm happy to come there. I bring the books because Amazon does have them, but there's a delay on the hardbacks. The paperbacks can come in 2 or 3 days, but there's a delay. But I have like 100, so till I run out, I will have them with me, and I can get them. I can get them a little faster than they are selling them. I don't know why, but I'm happy to do that. Will you have a journal to accompany the book soon? The book was written in God's time, so the journal is coming in God's time too. I had every intention on doing the audiobook and the journal and a couple of songs, to be honest with you. But the headspace to do that in the way that I want to do it hasn't come just yet, but it's going to come, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, there will be a journal, there will be an audiobook, because I said I was going to do it, and I told you I was going to do those things, but I don't have a date. And don't be calling me telling me God told you it's tomorrow. Because he be telling you stuff, and I'm like, y'all need to be quiet. Y'all over there making up stuff. But yeah. There are some songs that I'm going to share with you guys as well, that are associated with the book. And so it'll be a journey. We'll keep working. We'll do what you know how to do. We'll keep letting it bless us, because I'm part of the people that it blessed. And I don't know what I've done with it, but I started the show by showing you all that I got the copyright. Oh, I put it over here with my important papers, the copyright. So if you were a little late, I'll end where I started, with the official copyright from the registration of my book from the Copyright Office, where I started by sharing with you that I do that which I recommend to you. And I filed my copyright on my book, and just wanted to show you, kind of close it out for you and show you that it can be done, and it should be done, and that is going to go with my important papers, because you just never know. And so now that's preserved for my lifetime plus 70 years that will stay in place. One more thing I'll share before I go. I got, speaking of 1099s, I got a 1099 from ASCAP, the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, for royalties on, some stuff I did 20 years ago. And there's a whopping $79.73. But this is showing you the power of a copyright. I wrote this stuff associated with this 20 years ago. It was released 20 years ago. It sold, it came out in 2000. 2000 was the latest one. So 24 years ago. And I still am getting a little bitty tiny 1099. So you just never know, I have to file your copyrights, because if I didn't own the rights to those songs, I wouldn't be getting 1099s and little baby wires from ASCAP all these years. Once you own it, you own it. And nobody can ever take it away from you. So, all right, folks, it's been good to be back with you. Thank you so much, Colleen, for the taking our notes like you always do. You're so wonderful with that. I look forward to our next discussion, which will be after the book signing. So I'm probably going to get on like a 2 weeks, every other week schedule with this, with the table. And so I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing all of you who are going to come out in Swainsboro next Saturday, February 10th, the day before the Super Bowl, to join me for the book signing. Hey, Kim. I look forward to all of you who I'll get to see in person and hug and spend time with, and dig into, what the stories, and do what you know how to do, how they've impacted you, certainly how they've impacted us. And I read it again the other day while I was on vacation, like it wasn't my story, and it, yeah, it's a lot. So I appreciate so many of you who are still reading it and who are still reaching out to me to say that you read it again or that it helped you or you didn't realize you needed. I mean, I'm still getting people saying, I didn't realize I needed to see this story. I have friends who've lost their husband since I wrote my book, or children, their children's father. And so I've been able to be a resource for them since October. You know, just recently, people are still going through what we've been through. And I'm blessed to be able to be a resource to them because I have the perspective of what we've been through after having written the book. So I just appreciate the continued support. And no airports and no gospel rap this week. No airports. I don't know about the gospel rap. We'll see. um, you know, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for gospel rap. The young thugs, those people. Yeah, God. Right. It took a minute. Sorry, Colleen. um, I'm a little slow right now. But yeah, I just appreciate you guys. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the table. And we're going to stay truly humble under God with thugs around here. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering what I'm talking about, go back to the beginning, you'll see. And I will see you guys in person in Swainsboro on the 10th, and then probably like the Tuesday or Wednesday after that here at the table. Take care. Keep posting stuff in the group when you see good legal stories or you have questions about things that you see online. Post it up and let's talk about it. Thanks for joining me. Good night.